No, I am not dead. I've just been busy. Okay. 10 videos in the last 2 months. This is the most like consistent I've ever been on the main channel. And I'm trying to keep that up as well. There's like 2 videos I'm also working on. Like right now, I'm just taking a break. I decided to record this 2 videos right in front of me that I'm still planning as well. But yeah, this channel really did help me get that like creative spirit back and like the motivation to start posting again more. So since that helped me, I give you a video, I guess, right? I give you a video. Not long ago, I think maybe early January or like maybe in the middle or something, bruh. I had like a thought about like university and like the fees must fall like movement and stuff that happens here in South Africa and stuff. And one of the main reasons that I like one of the main topics that I touched on when discussing that thing is like getting out of the hood. And after I had that conversation with myself as well, and most of you guys on my status, the topic of getting out of the hood, it's kind of stayed in my mind for like a long time, kind of like discussing it with myself, like, in random places and stuff. It's like been a thing that's been in my head for like a long time. But I thought, you know what, I should make a video on it one day. And I thought, you know what, I have time now. Let's make a video on it, right? I don't think, right, if you're a person who has never been in the hood, if you've been lucky enough to not like grow up in the hood and stuff, you've grown up in suburbs, shout out to your parents, right? They really worked hard. But if you've been fortunate enough to not, grow up in the hood or understand anything about the hood, it is very difficult to get out of it, right? It's very difficult to get out of it. I don't want to say I live in the hood because it pretty much is, right? This house is amazing. Shout out to my parents, like shout out to them. They really worked hard. This is a beautiful house. You see my other videos, you see my room and stuff. You've probably seen the rest of my house. I don't know if you're my friend, definitely, but yeah, man, this is a really beautiful house. But like other than that, there's some I could say that I live in like the better part of my hood compared to like other places where there's like shacks and like broken down houses, burnt down houses. So it still is pretty much kind of you get what I'm saying? I can tell you, since I was a kid, like 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, to now when I'm like 20 years old, I still see the same people in the street, sitting in the same places, wearing the same clothes, looking exactly the same. And it's scary. But the scarier part about it as well, the other scarier part is, you see kids that you grew up with, right? Playing, those stupid games, playing wrestling in the grass and stuff, playing Dragon Ball Z, all those things, right? You see those kids, bro, and you see them now, and they've kind of fallen to the system as well, to a point where they smoking drugs, they, stealing stuff, they are broke completely, and the people that I spoke about earlier, they become them, right? Sitting in the same places at like 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, bro. That is scary, bro. It is so scary. And like, I think it's kind of obvious that, townships, obviously apartheid and all those things, right? Townships were made and it's kind of like a system to keep people in those townships. That's what it is, right? It's like a system that is meant to keep you in those townships, and that's pretty much what has been happening, bro. I have family in Soweto as well. I've seen the places in Soweto as well. Like pretty much it's meant to keep you in the township for like as long as possible, bro. And bro, it's scary, bro. It's really scary. It's really difficult to get out of the hood as well because you're not exposed to like jobs and stuff. You're not exposed to like a lot of big schools and stuff because you can't afford those things, right? You're not qualified to get into those schools. You're not qualified to get into those jobs and stuff. And at some point, you lose faith and you end up just staying here, which is unfair, which is unfair. And I'd like to say I've experienced both sides. Not like where I was like broke, 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 broke. Hell no, no, I've never experienced that, so I can't really speak from that POV. But let me say from like a school's from like a school POV, right? Let's do a quick story time, a really quick story time, right? So in grade 7, I didn't apply to a lot of high schools. I was like a specific high school I wanted to go to, a really good high school, and I didn't get in. Right now, the problem with that is I didn't apply to other high schools, so I had no options and had to go to like another high school down, like down the street. That's like 2 3 minutes away. Right, I ended up having to go to a high school. It is bad, and when I say it is bad, I did not pay school fees. That is insane. And for a person, for me, not to toot my own horn, right? But I was a pretty smart kid in primary school. I'm not smart now, hell no. That's why I'm a YouTuber, right? But anyways, bro, I was a pretty smart kid, an ambitious kid. I wanted to be an animator and stuff. And another thing about the hood actually, I, I've always wanted to be an animator and stuff. And usually when your elders and stuff, people in the area ask you, what do you want to do? Dumelo, what do you want to do when you grow up and stuff? And I'm like, I want to be an animator. And then they look at you with like the most confused face ever, bro, and ask you, what is that? You know what I'm saying? It's the hood, bro. They don't know what those things are. You know what I'm saying? They're not exposed to those type of things, right? But yeah, back to the story, bro. Like, I was an ambitious kid, a really smart kid, and the fact that like I still managed to stay in the hood, right, in a school where there's no school fees and stuff. Classes are broken down to the point where there was a strike, right, and I didn't go to school for like 2 3 months because like infrastructure was breaking down, teachers weren't being paid, all those things. For the whole of term one in grade 8, I had to stay at home because a lot of things were going on there, right? To fast forward the story, because it's like a hella long story. To fast forward the story, by a Hail Mary, I get into Parktown Boys High School. Now, to compare those two, this is the school I went to down here. Parktown is right up there. Right up there. I'm going to an all boys school. All of a sudden, I'm paying like, I'm not paying, of course. I'm not paying. My parents are paying now like more than like five figures for school fees. Imagine going from paying nothing to 5 figures of school fees. And the nice thing of me going to that school, and I really appreciate, is that I've met all these people here, most of these people here, from going to those type of schools. But I've learned a lot as well. I've gotten exposed to a lot of things. My accent has changed drastically. I used to sound like a colored kid, bro. Like this is like completely sound like a colored kid. I grew up in a colored area, anyways. I used to sound like a colored kid, like fully, bro. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I feel like I've grown in confidence to the point where I can make a YouTube channel. This YouTube channel exists because I went to those schools, right? I got exposed to Wi-Fi. I got exposed to YouTube and all. I knew about YouTube obviously, but I was never on YouTube constantly, right? But like I found the motivation to become a YouTuber myself, and now I'm making money from YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That's insane. If you had to tell me 10 years ago that in the future you'll be a YouTuber, I'd laugh at you, bruh. I'd laugh at you completely. But yeah, back to the thing here, right? I got exposed to so many different things, right? Like there's a multitude of sports to pick from, bro. I ended up playing hockey, and it's my favorite sport completely. Like I love football, and I have a damn football YouTube channel. But like hockey is something I want to play in the future, definitely. Just as like a side thing. Definitely want to play hockey in the future. I found out squash is a sport. Like what? And but like anyways, right? Other than that, you get to meet people who you never would have met in the hood. I don't think I articulated myself properly. What I mean by like you meet people that you wouldn't meet in the hood normally. You meet people who have been exposed to that environment their entire life, right? So let's just name this friend Josh, for example. He's into cameras and filmmaking and all those things, right? If you're interested in those things, he's a great friend to know. You can open up to meet people that leads to different opportunities that you wouldn't really get in the hood. You know what I'm saying? That's what I meant. I've learned so much things from like going to, these affluent places. I've gone to affluent schools as well, bro. St. Mary's, I've been there. I've been to St. Stithians where you're seeing Maybachs, you're seeing 911s, you're seeing R8s, every single place, bro. You're seeing, what's that? You're seeing a Lambo truck as well, bro. You see that Lambo truck J. Cole had in his phone off video? You don't care, right? You're seeing like a lot of things, bro. Like a lot of things. And then you come back to the hood, and then you realize that no, man, this place is very demotivating. It's very demotivating because every time I'm that side, I'm like, wow, this gives me the motivation to work hard and to, keep myself in these places. One day I want to buy a house in those places, right? One day I want to, own a business in that place, right? I want to be with my friends in that place. I want to be in like this, like, I want my mom to experience those places, right? On a daily basis, not just, hey, let's go out for a second, on a daily basis. That is what you want. But like when you come back here, bro, and you see nothing, you just see, you know, demotivated people, drunk people. Like in the morning, bro, you just see drunk people. You just see crime and all. It's demotivating, bro. And like when you don't have those opportunities, you just fall into the system. You just become part of the system, which is sad, honestly. Which is sad. There's a lot of people. Like I don't want to get into it all that much, but like, me and my boys, shout out to them. Like when we're playing soccer in the street and stuff, and there's like people that walk past, like usually old people, right? They walk past and stuff, and they're like, wow, like you guys are like inspiring, you know, that like despite you guys being in like these areas and stuff, you guys are still, working to get to those places. You guys are still working to get those places. You are happy, you are together, and all like the togetherness, like you guys are the future, right? You can take that like with a grain of salt and just move on. It's like nice people saying nice things, but like damn, like you take it from like their perspective and like wow, they look at us and see an amount, like a massive amount of potential, and wish that like we were them, pretty much, right? Imagine spending your entire life in one place. That is scary, my bro. That is scary. That is scary, bro. But like, I don't think I've covered every single thing, like how I envisioned. But like, hopefully, that's just like a nice summary of how difficult it is to get out of the hood. I should do a part two of this. I think maybe, depending on how I feel. Obviously, oh, I'm busy, right? But yeah, eventually I'll do a part two. This isn't a long video. It's almost 13 minutes, I think, of recording. I'll see how much I cut down in the edit. But yeah, man, more videos coming soon. Drink water.